Welcome to the PharmaSource podcast. I'm joined today by Manda Pasarkar, Global Head of Regulatory Affairs for CMC at Sanofi. Manda has over 20 years' experience in pharma, progressing from scientist roles at Teva through regulatory positions at Bayer, and now leads regulatory strategy for Sanofi's multi-billion-dollar portfolio across both biologics and small molecules. And her experience includes securing numerous drug marketing approvals in key markets such as the US, EU, Japan, China, and many others. Manda, welcome to the podcast today.
Thank you. Thank you, Luke, for inviting me. And I'm really happy to be part of it.
Thank you. Before we jump in, I just wanted to touch on the DTM behind your name, which I believe stands for Distinguished Toastmaster as a designation that very few people earn. I mean, before we talk about all the pharma stuff, what drew you into being a Toastmaster and how's that informed your leadership style?
It's a really good question, Luke. Toastmaster organization is a non-profit educational institute where leaders are being made. I went there just to be more articulated and my thoughts flows in a proper manner, to think on my feet. With that aim, I joined. But then I find out myself I became the leader by being at the Toastmaster because it helped me to realize my leadership abilities, which I had naturally. It shaped me. It shaped me to realize that what kind of a leader I am, how I can lead and motivate people. I became more conscious about it. So DTM has played really important role, and I would encourage everyone to, be a part of Toastmaster because Toastmaster really helps you to open up and unknot your thoughts, which helps you flow your ideas and you become more creative.
I mean, it sounds like it's been a really positive thing for you then.
Oh, absolutely. It's, I would recommend that's a prescription for everyone who is working, who is professional or even retired.
Thank you. At the top there, I touched a bit on your experience, but I'm interested in what drew you specifically into regulatory CMC. What made you decide to focus on that versus other areas of drug development?
I have a master's in chemistry, so I'm a chemist by education. That being said, chemistry is, I breathe chemistry and I love the science behind the medicinal products. And then another natural instinct or natural passion I have is for the regulations, law. I like to understand the law. I want to see how it has been implemented, and I like to see what it is that it can help to bring the medicine. So that being in my mind, in early of my career, I've been my co-workers and my colleagues and my managers has recommended me that, hey, I'll be really good at doing the regulatory, especially CMC, because both of my passion and my attention to details and my broader perspective on the pharma development and registration and lifecycle management, I was literally recommended to join regulatory CMC. And that's when I began my career. I have, by being in the regulatory CMC, I get to see not only the analytical part, but how it is been controlled, but I can see how it has been manufactured and how it is packaged and make available to patients. So I really see where the science behind the product and how we can comply the regulation when we are manufacturing the product. So, even the guidances are there to how we can manufacture and control and have a maintain the quality, purity, and potency of the product during the life cycle from development to the marketed. Having that being said, not every product is same. Every product has a different science and needs to be controlled differently and needs to be manufactured differently and needs to be supplied differently. It could be like a storage condition. It could be like the the dosage form, or how it is being delivered to the patient, and what is the mode of action. All behind it's the science and the chemistry behind it, and that chemistry tie into the how we regulate the product. So when the product is regulated in certain way, you need to have understanding of science of the product and the regulation behind it, because not every regulation fit into your product's requirement, how you registered and marketed. So in that condition, my unique skill of understanding both science and the regulations, I'm able to navigate the things and able to see the things through that perspective, that okay, this regulation applies here, but then there are other regulation applies to other part of the science of this product. So I think there is a lot more goes into when a manufacturer is developing the product and registering in the market.
The way you talk about it, it sounds like you're sort of having to navigate both equally complicated worlds, the complex world of science, and as you said, all the products are different and the science is different, but also working in a global role, all of the countries or the health authorities have their own approaches as well. In your global experience, for anyone who's coming into this, what would you say the most critical differences are between the major health authorities like the FDA, EMA, PMDA, for example? What do people need to know about how drugs are regulated in different regions?
In a nutshell, they're regulated equally. Everyone wants the quality and safe and pure product in there for their patients, all the health authorities. How they look at it is a little different. Like in Europe, when it comes to registration of the product, Europe is a large continent, has 30 countries that makes the European Union. So there is a lot more heads involved in it, in the review process. So you will get so many complicated questions because of the nature of the complex structure of European Union. And then you may end up receiving tighter specification on certain areas, and you may end up regulating the starting material in much more, go into the deeper level or more steps. So the controlling of the product could be a little different, tighter in certain area and broader in another area. At the same time, FDA could be drilling down onto the lot of requirement in the GMP. How is that GMP is controlled, and then how is that tie into your manufacturing? There are certain areas, certain part of the manufacturing process, they would look into more magnifying glass, but others is different. So, but when it comes to the PMDA, I think they are all ICH countries, and because of the nature of, because of they are the founder of ICH guidances are being utilized pretty well, and you are able to navigate and negotiate with the health authority based on the ICH guidances laid out for the CMC aspect of the medicinal product. So that being said, working with each health authority is quite complicated. The process could be completely different. The review process and the challenges we encounter, they are different, but they are not like you cannot deal with it. They are very informed and very intelligent question you receive, and that helps us realize like how was your development program. If your development program has all the different aspect that has been studies about the shelf life, or about the nature, about the impurity profiles and many aspects of the product that can impact the quality and the safety of the product, if it has been taken care, how is the manufacturing has been developed, what are the control, what are the in-process controls are there, and how they will impact into the longer terms of commercial manufacturing. So all that aspect, health authority review it thoroughly, and their questions are so informative that helps you think 10 year ahead of your commercial experiences. So when a sponsor is developing the product, they also need to think like how they would, this is a development product now, how can you scale up? And if you scale up, what kind of challenges you are encountering? And ICH guidance clearly says that, yes, we understand you do not have a lot of experience, so you can justify based on that. So when the product is being developed under development, your scales are smaller, you do not have enough experience because you are doing controlled clinical trial, you do not know how the patient will react, because right now they are in a controlled manner. But once it goes to the commercial, like it's open market, people, patient will administer themselves the medicine, and they will themselves see how they are feeling, or so then the experience becomes quite different. So in that case, like how your control are being, how well you are controlling your process, you do not have that experience. So in that situation, the science, understanding the science of your product is the key, and where the product should meet the established specification, or where we may need the broader specification, that needs to be defined based on these experiences, or understanding the future experiences.
You mentioned the ICH there, the International Council of Harmonization of Technical Requirements for Pharmaceuticals for Human Use. The ICH. How does the ICH work across all of those different health authorities? And I guess for you in your role, how do you engage with both the ICH but also with the different agencies? And it'd be interesting to know any advice you could share on how to build productive relationships with the agencies, with the ICH. What's the best way to deal with this complicated ecosystem?
So I think getting involved is the key. Like the large pharma, they always have membership with all different industry association who directly work with the ICH or get involved into the ICH themselves. So ICH and health agencies always invite industry to provide the comment on their guidance, help them in developing the guidances. So I've been fortunate to get involved into ICH's guidances, and even European guidances, and some of the WHO and FDA. So through many different aspects. So getting involved can help you putting yourself out there and developing that relationship. Even like you have many opportunity when you are developing your product via clinical trials or life cycle management. You have opportunity to get in touch with the regulators, or through the industry associations, or the when there are the guidances are reviewed, you can develop that relationship with the regulators, and to navigating through this landscape of complex regulation and controlling your product and commercializing. It's a challenge. It's a very highly regulated industry, but having the guidance is the ICH guidances really helps. Many of the ICH guidances are being transferred by Europe and Japan and US, and many other countries are nowadays involved. Besides that, health agency also provide their guidances, and they're always open to hear from the industry. So in my experiences, based on like even I seen my previous bosses have also reached out to the agencies, and they thought like if there is some change needed, they have had ability to influence and get some positive changes. But I think I can talk about the international emerging markets such as Brazil is one of the becoming a major country. India, China, their people wants to register their product and commercialize it. So I think they are getting. So you also need to, being a regulatory CMC, you do need to understand their regulatory requirement.
Does that present a particular challenge dealing with those emerging markets?
Yeah, I think Brazil, I would say they have their own requirements, and they do follow many of the regulation that's put forward by the uh, European Union. So you have, like, some understanding there. At the same time, health authority has their own local requirements. So
Mhm.
what so it's really helpful to navigate. It can get a little bit challenging being sitting into the major country and then registering the product into the Brazil. China is also another challenging aspect, where they want the product to be tested prior to get registered. So testing takes a lot of time.
Mm.
Then they have requirements of uh, certain local requirements could be complicated and adds to the approval process and cost of submission. Then they are coming up, like China has gone on to the ICH, adopted the ICH, so which helps. But there's still, I would say, there is still a lot of negotiation that needs to go into your
Mm.
when you are registering the product. So yes, it could be very challenging. India is also coming as an emerging market and has a lot of potential, and they are becoming the, I think, third large. They are becoming about the fifth economy. So the huge patient population there. So registering product is can be challenging uh, by having to deal with the local requirements. So yes, internationally, when we go to commercialize and have the marketing application in these countries, we do face challenges with the local requirement that are mandatory and sometimes can be negotiable. Are they and But sometimes there is, we don't even know, can we negotiate this
Mm.
requirement or not. So the regulatory folks needs to be uh, informed that yes, we can negotiate this one, and or we cannot negotiate certain of the requirement. You can or you cannot negotiate. So you do need to know, understand what you can negotiate, what you cannot. So these are this becomes the challenging aspect when we are going into this market. Where are they requiring clinical data, and very what kind of a data they require, and registering the, and when it comes to the CMC, how much they do they need a brand new batches, or they can use the existing batches that has been already
Mhm.
commercialized. All different aspects fall into creating the challenges in this market.
I think regulatory can be something which people take for granted as, oh, it will just work, it will just get there. But what happens when it doesn't?
Yeah, I think, I would say regulatory alone is not responsible, because business drives the regulatory.
Mhm.
So having the good business plan and a some development uh, of your, like, I'm gonna say that again, uh, good business plan and breakthrough therapies, uh, an amazing research and development of your medicine can drive the regulatory.
Mm.
What could be, like, if they don't align, uh, your business plan does not align with the science of the product and your regulatory strategy of going into the market. I think that's when the disconnect could uh, could create the problem. So I would say that it's not a one person, one regulatory department can break it and make it, but they can have an impact
It'd be interesting to reflect on your experience during COVID, because I think that was such a pivotal moment for most people in pharma. In many cases, the rules were loosened. And it'd be interesting to know about what your experience was and what the regulatory challenges you faced through that period. Any lessons from that which you take into your work today?
I would say that through the COVID, did realize that, you have ability to negotiate for your patient.
Mhm.
You do have. And COVID has really helped people to start thinking out of the box and being more proactive and pragmatic on how we do the business with health authority and health authority with the sponsor. This is what my observation is. And that being said, when you have your patient is your priority to get them the safe and highly pure and quality medicine. I think you are aligned with the health agency. So that alignment and that collaboration or the engagement really help, by the way. So
Mm.
that's what my understanding was through the or my learning from the COVID
Yep.
experience.
One of the areas it'd be good to talk about is how you work with external manufacturing partners, whether that's with CROs or CDMOs, many of which can offer regulatory service as part of that. How do you tend to operate with those outsourcing partners? At what point do you feel like regulatory should be involved? And are there particular ways of working, information flows, transparency, which you would recommend?
So I think there is no one answer to this question, and every company operates differently, and every business has their different needs. Based on full service CRO or partially like on basis CRO, on need basis CRO, or have there are different ways. Sponsor or industry engage their CROs.
Hmm.
And, you know, involvement of regulatory is crucial because if the supply chain or procurement is working solely with the CROs, so who is responsible person to get the dossier? Or the sponsor is writing the dossier and administered by or implemented by the CRO. So I think that relationship needs to be well defined. If everything is done by CRO, only the uh, uh, regulatory responsibility is with the sponsor, then I think the relationship will be completely different. It will be just give and take liaisoning. But if you are writing the dossier on behalf of your CRO, then I think you are part of their quality system. You would be seeing their change control. You will be assessing the change control and reviewing their dossier, or having them review your dossier, what you
Hmm.
are writing for the life cycle management of the mm, new marketing application. So I think it's all depend on what level, what is your contractual agreement with your CRO. Having said that, do we have a middleman between the CRO and regulatory person? In some company they do. Others they can work directly with the CRO. So it's all depending on the structure of the organization.
Hmm.
uh, a regulator does need to be part of, fully, partially, or directly or indirectly. That's because manufacturing and regulatory needs to work together in order to have the compliant um, information and compliant data uh, that ensures the product quality.
There's been so much disruption in recent years from technology, whether that's digital platforms, use of AI. It feels as though regulatory document management would be a natural place for agentic AI, for example, to be able to work. Be interesting to get your thoughts on that. I mean, what do you see the opportunities being for technology in regulatory CMC?
Technology is evolving, and we've been seeing that not just recently. I think AI is a big disruption, not only pharma industry or every industry, and we will not be um, immune to that one. So yes, AI will bring the efficiency. How much AI, like how much AI could help us, I don't have the answer for that right now, but I can definitely say AI will help writing the dossier faster. Agentic AI may able to help us find the guidances and filter the information which we would spend like 8 hours a day to look at research for the guidance and find the information. But agentic AI, with the help of prompt, can get you the answer right away within a 30 second or a minute. And even like a bigger pharma, they have a huge database and multiple systems. Agentic AI will help to deliver the answer, the SOPs you are looking, or guidance, the policies you are looking, or the data you are looking through like a huge databases. So agentic AI definitely will help. I It will also like as industry move on into the getting into the writing the dossier with the AI and uh, a, and the producing like, and then digital platform they'll be using at the robotics, and digital platform they'll be using in the manufacturing, so it will bring the efficiency. But for the regulatory CMC perspective, writing could really help. And I think already ELSA is used by FDA voluntarily basis for reviewing the dossier. So that's the hint to the industry that we do need to get onto the AI platform much faster than we think.
What are the big challenges, would you say, for regulatory affairs at the moment? I mean, the things which whether it's digital tools or something else could help to solve. Are there any particular industry problems, industry challenges which need to be solved individually as a company or collectively as an industry?
The digital challenges, meaning that you do need to get onto your digital platform. Like you no longer can have printout documents and reviewing, and your change control system is not connected to your regulatory database or vice versa. You cannot do that anymore. Your manufacturing system should also be able to produce the electronic batch records. So these are there will be I don't see how can we function not having digitization of your manufacturing, digitization of your quality system, digitization of your regulatory system, and they all not talking to each other. I think we are creating the silo. So yes, we do need to uh, not only we need to collaborate as a human being or as a company, but we also need to have collaboration among our system. They need to speak to each other to produce the data which align across and have like a harmonized and efficient information available at the tip of your finger.
Thank you. I wanted to also ask you a question around CSR, corporate social responsibility, and work which you've been involved around new drug applications as part of Sanofi's CSR initiative. Be interesting to know a bit about that and what impact it's possible for people to make on global health access.
Sanofi has a Sanofi Foundation who is heavily involved, supporting supporting the patient in across the around the world where people are not able to afford. I am fortunate to be part of the global health unit where Sanofi has uh, uh, identified, I think, about 40 low to middle income countries where they are having mm, uh, there is marketing application for about 13 essential medicine, and will able to deliver the medicine to the patient. So I think that's an amazing initiative, and that is called Global Health um, Unit, and that through the Sanofi Foundation. And Sanofi is making a lot of efforts uh, by having the product delivered to the countries where medicines are easy to be found, or they are very expensive.
Incredibly positive and worthwhile. Final question for you. If someone was looking to build a career in regulatory CMC, what would you say are the essential skills that they should develop? And any advice that you could share for people who want to succeed in this field?
I think A is desire, B is you have the ability to read and read and understand, and then ability and the science behind the product. Then I would say that, I like 5 years before I would have said like a good writing skill, but now AI could help you. And leadership ability, I think you are not only leading you, but you are leading your product as well. So you need to lead your product. You need to speak on behalf of your product. You need to liaise with many people. You would need to help people realize what are the regulation and constraints around it. So many soft skill ability to lead is the top skill, I would say. Then understanding the science behind your product, and a good communicator would be the one. So I think if you have developed at least 3 skill out of it, you could be a good regulatory CMC person.
Manda, thank you so much for your time. Pleasure speaking to you today.
Same here. So happy to talk to you, Luke.